Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. The fairy tale that we are on right now is Kate Crackernuts. Once upon a time there was a king and a queen, as in many lands have been. The king had a daughter and the queen had a daughter. The queen was jealous of the king's daughter for being bonnier than her own, and she cast about to spoil her beauty. So the queen took counsel of the hen wife. "Send the lassie to me in morning to get eggs," said the hen wife, "and send her fasting." The queen did so, but the lassie found a crust of bread to eat before she went out. When she came to the hen wife's, she asked for eggs. "Lift the lid off that pot there and see," said the hen wife. She lifted the lid off the pot, but nothing happened. "Go home to your Minnie," said the hen wife, "and tell her to keep the press door, better steek it." The lassie went back home and told the queen what the hen wife had said. So the queen watched her the next morning and sent her away fasting. But the lassie picked a handful of wheat at the roadside and ate it by the way. Then she went to the hen wife and asked for the eggs. "Lift the lid off that pot there and see," said the hen wife. The lassie lifted the lid off the pot, but nothing happened. "Go home to your Minnie," said the hen wife, "and tell her the pot won't boil if the fire's away." So the lassie went home and told the queen. The next day the queen herself took the lassie to the hen wife, and when she lifted the lid, off jumped the lassie's own bonny head, and on jumped a sheep's. The queen was pleased. I was a bit baffled then, guys. So yeah, she lost her head, but it got replaced by a sheep's head. But the queen's daughter, Kate, took a fine linen cloth and wrapped it around her sister's head, and took her by the hand and went out to seek their fortune. They went far, till they came to a king's house. Kate knocked on the door and called, "A night's lodging for me and my sick sister." "You'll get that," said the king, "if you'll sit up with my sick son." "I will," said Kate. "There'll be a peck of silver for you," said the king, "if it's all right." So Kate sat up by the sick prince's bed, and all went well till midnight. Then, at 12 o'clock, when it was ringing, the prince rose and dressed himself and went downstairs. Kate followed. The prince went to the stable, saddled his horse, called his hound, jumped into the saddle, and Kate leapt lightly up behind him. Away rode the prince and Kate through the green wood. Kate, as they passed, plucking nuts from the trees and filling her apron. They rode on until they came to a green hill. The prince here drew bridle and said, "Open, open, green hill, and let the young prince in with his horse and his hound," and added Kate, "his lady him behind." The green hill opened and they passed in. Inside the hill there was a hall, brightly lightened up, and many beautiful ladies took the prince and led him off to the dance, while Kate, unperceived, sat herself by the door. There she saw the prince dancing, 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 till he could dance no longer, and fell upon the floor. When the ladies would fan him and kiss him, and he would rise up again and go dancing. Then the cock crew, and the prince made all haste to get homeward and back, Kate leaping lightly up behind him, and home they rode. And Kate sat down by the fire and cracked her nuts and ate them. The king said, "How is the sick prince?" He will be better yet, said Kate. Sit up with him again, said the king. There'll be a pinch of gold, if you're all right. So Kate sat with the sick prince a second night, and all happened as it had the first. Away rode the prince and Kate through the green wood. Kate, as they passed, plucking nuts from the trees and filling her apron. They came to the green hill, and the prince said, Open, open, green hill, and let the young prince in with his horse and his hound. And added Kate, his lady, him behind. The green hill opened, and the beautiful ladies let the prince and led him off to the dance, while Kate, unperceived, sat herself by the door. She saw a Harney playing with a wand, and one of the ladies said, 3 strokes of that wand would make Kate's sick sister, as bonny as ever she was before. So Kate rallied, and she rallied. She decided she would do this, and she rolled nuts to the harnier, and rolled nuts till the harnier toddled after the nuts, and let fall the wand. And Kate took it up and put it in her apron. Then the cock crew, and the prince made all haste to get homeward and back, Kate leaping lightly up behind him, and home they made. And Kate sat down by the fire and cracked her nuts and ate them, the ones she had left, of course. The king said, How is the sick prince? He will be better yet, said Kate. Sit with him again, said the king. If I can have him to wed, you'll get that, if all's right. So Kate sat with the sick prince a third night, and away they rode, the prince and, of course, Kate, through the greenwood. Kate, as they passed, plucking nuts from the trees and filling her apron. The green hill opened and they passed in, and the prince danced, and Kate, unperceived, sat herself by the door. The Harney was playing with a birdie, and one of the ladies said, 3 bites of that birdie would make the sick prince as well as ever he was. So Kate rolled nuts to the Harney the first time she did it, remember? And she got the wand. So she did it again and again and rolled more nuts until the Harney toddled after the nuts and left the birdie to fall. And Kate took it up and put it in her apron. Then the cock crew, and the prince made all haste to get on horseback and hurry back home, Kate leaping lightly up behind him. And home they rode. Kate plucked the feathers off and cooked the birdie. Oh, the smell! And the sick prince. I wish I had a bite of that birdie, said he. So Kate gave him a bite of the birdie, and he rose up on his elbows. By and by he cried out again, Oh, if I have another bite of that birdie! Oh, if I had another bite of that birdie! So Kate gave him another bite, and he sat up on his bed. Then he said again, Oh, if I have another bite of that birdie, a third bite of that birdie. So Kate gave him a third bite, and he forgot the green hill. He dressed himself, sat down by the fire, and when the king came and found Kate and the young prince cracking nuts together, Kate took the wand and gave her sister 3 strakes of it, and it says strakes, not strokes, just to be clear. And the sheep's head fell off, and her own head was on again. And the king's second son saw her and fell in love with her immediately. So the sick son married the well sister, and the well son married the sick sister. They lived long and died happy, and never drank out of a dry cappy. And that is the story of Kate Crackernuts. I'm not sure where it originates from. It's very interesting and the wording's very odd. I did read it exactly as it's actually put in the book, so that's interesting to me, it always is. So that was Kate Crackernuts. Thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this little tale. I sure did.